Beijing has criticized a speech from Taiwan's president, saying it incited confrontation and distorted facts. President Tsai Ing-wen used the island's National Day to insist it won't bow to Beijing's pressure to reunify with China. Polls in Iraq have closed and votes are being counted in an election called early after months of anti-government protest. The vote's been marred by Iraq's economic crisis and continuing sectarian division. The man regarded as the father of Pakistan's nuclear program has died. Abdul Qadir Khan was regarded by many Pakistanis as a national hero, but widely condemned elsewhere for having smuggled nuclear technology to Iran, Libya and North Korea. And new research suggests that the loss of biodiversity risks tipping the world into ecological meltdown. Scientists say it's possible nations will be unable to meet the needs of their populations.
South Korea's ruling Democratic Party has selected the governor of Gyeonggi Province, Lee Jae-myung, as its candidate for the next presidential election in March 2022.
I will definitely carry out changes and reforms that people demand. Let's open the door together that will lead to certain reforms for realizing a new South Korea and new politics.
Lee won over 50% of all votes cast in the party's primaries across the country. He is followed by former Prime Minister Lee Nak-yong and other candidates. The governor argues that the country's wealth gap can be resolved by introducing a universal basic income to guarantee a minimum level of economic prosperity. The latest Gallup Korea survey released on Friday selected Lee as the most suitable person to be the next president.
I support him as he's the most prepared candidate.
He'll make policy proposals for socially vulnerable people, such as workers like us, who are suffering economically.
The largest opposition, People Power Party, has intensified its criticism of Lee over allegations involving an urban development project in Seongnam City when he was the mayor. The opposition party has narrowed down its candidates to 4. It is scheduled to announce the final selection in November. Taiwan's president has vowed to strengthen defense capabilities. Tsai Ing-wen made the pledge in a speech commemorating Double 10 Day, which Taiwan considers the day of its founding. Tsai expressed concern about the recent Chinese military activity in Taiwan's air defense identification zone. She said this has seriously affected Taiwan's security and aviation safety. Tsai also said the Taiwanese people will not bow to pressure. She rejected China's moves that undermine the status quo of the Taiwan Strait under its one country, two systems policy.
We will continue to bolster our defense and demonstrate our determination to defend ourselves to ensure that nobody can force Taiwan to take the path China has laid out for us.
Tsai's speech was followed by a parade. The weapons on display included the Hengfeng 3, an anti-ship missile developed by Taiwan. The Taiwanese authorities are accelerating the development and mass production of long-range missiles to strengthen deterrence against China. Now the coronavirus situation in Japan. Tokyo confirmed 60 new cases on Sunday, the capital's lowest figure for the year so far. The daily tally is down by 22 from Saturday and is the lowest in about 13 months. 67 people are in serious condition. Tokyo officials note that infections are falling steadily, but say there could be a resurgence of the virus. They are urging people to continue taking thorough preventive measures. Tottori Prefecture in western Japan has reported no new cases for the second day running. About 400 young people attended a coming-of-age ceremony that had been postponed since January.
I'm glad I was able to take part and to meet everyone for the first time in a while. I hope to become a medical worker and an adult who can contribute to society.
The participants needed to make advance applications for the ceremony. Those who live outside the prefecture had to show a negative PCR test result. More than 550 new infections were confirmed nationwide on Sunday. More than 480 people are in serious condition. Japan's industry minister says decommissioning the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant and ensuring the safe release of treated water are his top priorities. Hagiura Koichi met with Fukushima Governor Uchibori Masao on Sunday. It was his first visit to the prefecture since assuming the post a week ago.
Decommissioning the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, measures to deal with treated water, and Fukushima's recovery are the ministry's top priorities. I'm determined to stand by the victims and to do my best.
Uchibori raised the government's plan to release treated water stored at the plant into the sea. The water would be diluted so tritium and other radioactive materials are well below national standards.
This is not only a problem for Fukushima, but for Japan as a whole. We hope you will face this issue sincerely as industry minister and deal with it.
Hagiura went on to visit the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant and meet with leaders of nearby towns. Pakistani nuclear scientist Abdul Qadir Khan has died at age 85. He played a central role in the country's nuclear program and helped to sell technology to North Korea and Iran. Pakistan state media said Khan died on Sunday at a hospital in Islamabad. He was born in India. He later moved to Pakistan and studied in Europe. In the 1970s, he worked at a uranium enrichment plant in the Netherlands. While there, he is believed to have obtained classified information on materials for enriching uranium and a list of providers. He joined Pakistan's nuclear weapons program and oversaw a test in 1998, earning him the nickname Father of Pakistan's nuclear bomb. He came under fierce international criticism in 2004 after being found to be involved in what was known as the nuclear black market. The cause of his death has not been made public. He was said to be recuperating at home after contracting COVID-19. People in Iraq have voted in a parliamentary election. The focus is on whether a stable administration can be established to restore security as the United States winds down its involvement in the country. Voting closed at 6 p.m. on Sunday local time. More than 3,200 candidates are competing for 329 seats. Security personnel were deployed across Iraq to prevent possible attacks by Islamic State militants. One of the main election issues is whether the U.S. military should remain in the country. U.S. troops are expected to complete their combat operations against the Islamic State militant group by the end of this year. The U.S. is likely to then shift its role to training Iraqi forces.
I hope Iraq won't become like Afghanistan, and we can avoid that kind of chaos.
Another key issue is what kind of relationship Iraq should pursue with Iran. A series of attacks on U.S. troops in Iraq have apparently been carried out by militias backed by Iran. People have taken to the streets in the Italian capital of Rome to protest the government's new coronavirus vaccine mandate for all workers. The protests on Saturday came before the rules come into force on Friday. Local media say more than 10,000 people took part. Protesters filled the square and shouted freedom. Some staged a sit-down in the street. Police used water cannons to disperse demonstrators. A number of them tried to force their way into a union office, saying labor unions support the mandate. Prime Minister Mario Draghi denounced the violence. Last month, the Italian government decided to make it mandatory for all workers to carry COVID-19 health certificates. The move is a bid to accelerate inoculations and prevent the spread of infections. The certificates show that a person has been vaccinated or has tested negative for the virus. People who do not comply could be suspended from work and even risk fines. About 80% of people in the country eligible for COVID-19 shots have been fully vaccinated, and the number of new weekly cases has declined to less than 1/10 the level of the peak in November last year. But officials say they will continue to work to encourage vaccinations. Those were the stories for this hour.